All right, let's talk about inflation. It's a term you hear often, especially when the cost of living seems to be going up. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot, usually when prices go up. But what does it really mean? And nobody likes it when prices go up. They're probably doing a little dance, counting all that extra cash. It's a win for them, but not so much for the average consumer. But seriously, inflation is basically when things get more expensive over time. It's a gradual process that affects everyone. Remember when a candy bar cost a nickel? Those were the good old days? Yeah, those days are long gone. Now you might need $1 or more for the same candy bar. That's inflation in action, folks. It's the reason why prices keep going up. Your dollar, pound or euro just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. You get less for the same amount of money. Inflation isn't always a bad thing though. It can indicate a growing economy. A little bit of inflation is normal and even healthy for a growing economy. It encourages spending and investment, but when it gets out of control, it can be a real buzzkill. It erodes purchasing power and savings. Think of it like this. Inflation is like a sneaky thief that slowly steals the value of your money over time. It's subtle but impactful. It affects everyone, and managing it is crucial for economic stability. So, how do we even know how bad inflation is? How can we measure something that affects so many aspects of our daily lives? Well, economists use something called the Consumer Price Index, or CPI for short. It's a crucial tool in understanding the economic health of a country. Think of it as a giant shopping basket filled with all the things people buy regularly. This basket includes a wide variety of items that reflect our everyday spending habits. We're talking about everything from groceries like fresh produce and packaged goods and gas for our cars to essential services like rent and haircuts. These are the things we can't do without. The CPI tracks the prices of all these items over time to see how much they've gone up. This helps us understand the rate at which the cost of living is increasing. Each item in the basket is weighted based on how much people spend on it. This means that more expensive or frequently purchased items have a bigger impact on the overall index. So housing, which eats up a big chunk of our income, gets a bigger weight than, say, toothpaste. This ensures the index accurately reflects our spending patterns. The CPI is like a thermometer for the economy. It gives us a clear picture of inflation trends. It tells us how hot or not inflation is running. When the CPI rises, it indicates that prices are increasing. And believe me, you don't want to see that thermometer bursting at the seams. High inflation can erode purchasing power and create economic instability. Here's the thing about inflation. It eats away at your purchasing power. That means the money you have today buys less stuff than it did yesterday. Remember that delicious burrito you used to get for $5? Yeah, now it's $7 and they didn't even add guacamole. Inflation can be especially tough on people with fixed incomes like retirees. If their income doesn't keep up with rising prices, they're basically getting a pay cut every year, and that's just not right. But it's not just individuals who feel the pinch. Inflation can mess with businesses too. It makes it harder for them to plan for the future and can even discourage investment. Section 4. Inflation gone wild from Zimbabwe to Japan. Let's talk about extreme cases, shall we? These are the scenarios that really make you sit up and take notice. Remember Zimbabwe? Back in the 2000s, it was a time of economic chaos and financial turmoil. They had hyperinflation so out of control that prices were doubling every single day. Now imagine waking up to find that your money is worth half as much as it was yesterday. People were literally carrying around a wheelbarrow full of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. Talk about a breadwinner. It was a surreal and desperate situation. On the flip side, there's deflation, which is like inflation's evil twin. It might sound like a good thing, but it's far from it. That's when prices go down over time. Sounds great, right? Not so fast. Deflation can lead to a downward spiral in the economy. Deflation can be just as bad as inflation, if not worse. Take Japan, for example. They've been battling deflation for decades, and it's been a real drag on their economy. They've been battling deflation for decades, and it's been a real drag on their economy. The constant expectation of falling prices has stifled economic growth. When people expect prices to keep falling, they put off buying things, which just makes the problem worse. It's a vicious cycle that's hard to break. So yeah, inflation and deflation, both bad news bears. Each presents its own set of challenges and risks that can destabilize economies if not managed carefully. Section 5. The importance of stable prices. The bottom line is this: we need stable prices for a healthy economy. When inflation is low and predictable, businesses can invest with confidence, people can plan for the future, and the economy can grow at a steady pace. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve in the US, play a crucial role in keeping inflation in check. They use various tools, like interest rates, to try and keep inflation from getting too hot or too cold. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's essential for keeping the economy humming along. Section 6. Why we should care about inflation. Look, I get it. Inflation might seem like a boring economic concept, but it affects all of us, whether we realize it or not. It impacts the prices we pay, the value of our savings, and even our jobs. Pay attention because it matters, and who knows, you might even impress your friends with your newfound knowledge of the CPI basket. You're welcome.